Welcome back to the Convo Couch, everyone. Pasta Jardula here.
And I'm Fiorella, I
and
think.
Johnny the Kraken Sue.
Johnny the Kraken.
The Kraken. Today is the Kraken date. Well, I was supposed to be released. The Kraken. I don't know if the Kraken's
I think the Kraken's like
been released. I saw something that had a little baby octopus like kind of crawling on the ground on the sand, and somebody said, "Look, it's Sidney Powell. She's morphed into the Kraken." So, you know what I'm saying? Guys, like, share, subscribe on the YouTube right now. We got about 47 watching. A lot of people saying they haven't been hitting the bells. We need some bells. We need you to like it, share, and subscribe. R.I.P. Diego Maradona. People are already there. We see it, Jesus. But yes, we definitely.
He was actually the guy I actually liked. I didn't really like anybody else except Pelé, but yeah.
Well, that's the argument. Who's the best all
Sarky.
time? Who was the greatest all time? Pelé or Diego Maradona? You know what I'm saying? Of course, if you're an Italian, you throw a little Roberto Baggio in there, little Roberto Baggio. You know about Roberto Baggio, fam? Yeah.
So Argentinians will say Maradona, of course,
Yes.
and Brazilians will say Pelé.
Well, Maradona is of Italian descent. I believe, though, when he played in the World Cup in Italy one year, they were booing him in some places and then cheering him in others. Like, he had the opportunity to play for Italy if he wanted to, but he chose to stay with Argentina, and they did win a Stanley Cup. They haven't won a Stanley Cup since. And it's funny because
Cup.
a Stanley Cup, I'm sorry.
Come on, your white man is coming in here.
I know, a World Cup.
The World Cup.
A World Cup.
La Copa Mundial. Come on, get it together. Jesus Christ. I'm so sorry for
Maradona
that.
is the best skater in
Don't
soccer ever.
cancel us for this, okay? He literally just, wow. It's worse than fraud.
I'm trying to stall some time till we get in on the Rokfin real quick. We're taking a look and see what's going on. Kraken is like PayPal for your cryptocurrency. It's a .com. All right, Miss Mountain, thank you so much. Ronaldinho, people talk about as well.
Ronaldinho, yes.
Well, who's Messi? Everybody says that Messi's the best. Or
I don't really like
Cristiano
Messi.
Ronaldo. You want to go Portugal? You want to go Argentina? Where do you want to go?
I mean, I thought, wasn't it Brazil?
No. Cristiano Ronaldo's from Portugal.
Oh, I thought he was Brazil.
No, he's got the
I haven't been keeping up.
feet. That guy can kick a ball in soccer, man. He can bend it like Beckham, fam. He can move it around wherever he needs to and stuff.
So earlier today, I shot a video with Misty and for her Facts on the Ground podcast. You guys should check it out if you're not subscribed. Comrade Misty, we put her tweets up a lot. Her and her co-host, Jesse, are doing a great job, and it was really cool. We got to talk a lot about the progressive faux left, and we talked about the Brooklyn left. We talked about the election issues happening and how lonely it's been, and being a woman in media. That was also a really good topic with Misty. So it was awesome, and she's gonna release it soon. So you guys should check it out when she does. I'll share it as well.
Awesome. Brazil, Ronaldinho. Cristiano Ronaldo, Portugal. Oh, Red Socialist. He's there. He says David Beckham is the best soccer player of all time.
I don't know about
Did
all
he just
that.
say that out loud?
I don't know.
He didn't say that. I'm kind of putting him on the I'm putting him on the spot. You know what I'm saying? So
Red Socialist. Come on. Man. I don't know about Beckham.
Bend it like Beckham.
The coolest thing about him is that he's married to a Spice Girl.
Oh my God. That interview with Ali G was the best thing. Like, do you take it in the bum? No. You mean you never been caught off sides, Beckham? It was the greatest one in the world. All right.
Bum. So,
wait, Maradona was the best soccer player of all time. He supported Hugo Chavez and Fidel Castro. Yeah, I think Pele was awesome though as well. But here's the thing:
they were both really good.
The competition that they played in their outside their country team. Messi played against much harder competition. He played in Europe, and people were just grabbing him, hitting him. We're waiting right now, Carrie Mark. We're trying to figure out what's going on with Rokfin. We're just waiting on it, seeing if it comes up. Pele is number one, Red Sea Socialist. I guess you don't like David Beckham, you know. Guys, do me a favor. Like, share, subscribe. Hit that button. Hit that thumbs up. Where are the trolls at? There's no trolls. We usually have about 4 or 5 trolls by now.
Stop calling them.
Well, we'd have some thumbs down, but we don't have it right now. All right, should we get started, Johnny, and just go on to? We're gonna get started right now because we'll see what happens and we'll go there. Fam. Oh, did I send this to my mom? Let me make sure. Send it to my mom because my mom wants to know about the cabinet. She said to me, she goes, "Who are all these people that
All these
that
goons.
Biden's picking for the cabinet. Is he bringing back the swamp?
Oh,
so
the swamp never really left, but this is much worse. I mean, this is really bad, and people don't want to hear this. You know, they want to pretend that everything is peachy, that everything's great, that they can go to brunch now, even though Gavin's closing a lot of brunch spots.
AOC said these are good choices for the cabinet. She said it.
Yeah,
if AOC said so,
they must be true. So Joe Biden, first of all, he had this tweet, right? He said, "America is back, back again. Guess who's back? America's back.
It's got 1.5 million."
Yeah. America is back. What do you mean by America's back? Like, did we ever leave? Like, did we ever stop being the country that, you know, overthrows democratically elected leaders all over the world, that continues their imperialism, that continues not dealing with the police issue, that continues suppressing voices of dissent with the censorship, that continues having wealth disparity? It didn't go anywhere. It's been here. That's the America we're talking about. But what he means to say is that America is back, meaning we're going to go back to the status quo with no opposition, because we're not going to have the big orange boogeyman in Donald Trump to push people to oppose anything. And we're seeing that already happen.
Didn't he say that nothing would fundamentally change anyways?
He did.
I mean, so where are we getting back to and stuff? And really the audacity of these people to talk like this. You know, first you steal an election, which we know you stole it.
Mm-hmm.
And we'll talk about that later. And secondly, you come like now we're back as if we went somewhere that it was so fucking awful. Excuse me for cursing, but you know, like it was so awful, and all of a sudden now you're coming back. Here comes the old school cabinet picks, fam. We know a lot of these people. We know a lot of these players. So
yeah,
I think it's disgusting that they're saying this crap and stuff. And then, you know, we had the thing with Alyssa Milano trying to say, oh, you know, Trumpers, let's come together after you've been, you know, just killing them and destroying them.
There's a comparison between what she said to them and what she said to Bernie supporters, and it was just so vastly different. I mean, it was interesting how much
she
more
once
friendly
supported
she
Bernie.
Was.
She once did.
No, she how she was saying the Bernie supporters were all like awful and they should die. Like she was really bad. Okay, so Biden promises to lead the world with his fresh thinking. Okay, and RT did a really great report on this. He has a wonderful security team, Joe Biden. Let's kind of just briefly go over this right now in this article. He announced his security picks Monday. Anthony Blinken, that we've talked about, for security state. Alejandro Mayorkas for Secretary of Homeland Security. Avril Haines, that's a winner, for Director of National Intelligence. Linda Thomas Greenfield for UN Ambassador, and Jake Sullivan as a National Security Advisor, and John Kerry as a Climate Czar.
Oh, that's a progressive.
The name czar, I don't know why. And there are all other criticisms of Russia and of like all these places. Like they use the name czar, right? No,
they use that. That's like a terminology.
Yeah, like the what was it? What's his name was the Ronald Klain was the Ebola czar. Okay, so America is back, ready to lead the world, not retreat from it, Biden declared on Tuesday.
What does that mean?
Not retreat from it.
Yeah.
Okay. Blah, blah, blah. They all served, all his 6 security specialists, all of them, served on the Obama administration in some capacity. And Biden's speech suggested that his administration would pick up where Obama left off. And he said, we're going to have the first woman lead the intelligence community, the first Latino, an immigrant to lead the Department of Homeland Security, and a groundbreaking diplomat in the United Nations. This is it. This is what I wanted to point out. The identity politics coupled with appeals to his new nominees' credentials was the order of the day for Biden. Blinken, for example, was introduced as a man who, quote, strengthened Americans' alliances and led to diplomatic efforts in the fight against ISIS. A man who comes from a family of immigrants and refugees and Holocaust survivors. And Blinken was involved in the in the arming of and we're going to go into this a little bit deeper, but arming the rebels in Syria. He orchestrated the lobbying of the bombing of Serbia in 1999, and then of course the U.S. to arm the Ukraine against Russia. And he is ambiguous on China. And Alejandro Mayorkas was described as both a consummate professional who would ridden the Homeland Security Department of the chaos, dysfunction, and absolute cruelty of the Trump administration. But Mayorkas has been lauded by liberals for championing a path to citizenship for immigrants. He also occupied the number 2 spot on the department as the Obama administration and detained and caged children and deported more immigrants than any other administration in history. So, so you guys know that's kind of who they're.
I love the way they use the identity politics to try to make everything good, to gloss over the fact that these people's ideologies are warmongers and evil people and they're globalists and shit. But they hit the first Latino, the first woman, you know what I'm saying? A guy is a Holocaust survivor family and whatnot and stuff. But the ideology sucks. We talked about Blinken. He's god awful. Blinken yelled at freaking Joe Biden for not being enthusiastic enough for going into Syria. Literally. That was what he yelled at him about. And, once again, Ukraine, he was all about. This guy's a regime change aficionado, but he's cool with Grover, so everything's okay.
Exactly. He's cool with Grover. And let's talk about Haynes for a minute. So Avril Haines is going to be the director of the intelligence. And Haynes aided in the covering up of the CIA's backing of the Senate servers in 2014 as the Intelligence Committee was compiling a report into the agency's use of torture. Haynes also helped craft Barack Obama's controversial drone warfare policy, which resulted in the deaths of hundreds of civilians in multiple countries, including at least one American citizen. Yeah. So, and Biden's cabinet, of course, has been hailed by many liberals as competence and for its competence and diversity. And like
diversity,
I said,
they love to throw that word around.
They do, and it's hilarious because that was just a brief oversight as to who these people are, mainly Blinken and Haynes. But we've talked about him before, but there's so much dirt on this guy that there's so much to be said.
Blinken, right?
Yeah,
Blinken, who worked for Clinton, Biden. And Obama,
the
all
trifecta.
three, the trifecta we call it.
The trifecta. So just a reminder, he was Secretary of State for Obama and Biden's security advisor. And from 1994 to 2000, as Pasta said, he was Clinton's National Security Counsel. And just so you know, these are just bullet points. He strongly pushed for the war in Iraq.
Where'd you get this from, by the way? Was this on?
What? No, I made this.
Oh, you made this. Can we put this up on Instagram? Or is it already there?
No, it's not there.
Okay, sorry.
Okay. So he was prone use of and target pro drone use and of pro targeted attacks. This is the foreign policy he's pushing. He's pro sanctions. He's a NATO guy. We saw with Grover, he was pushing NATO, very pro democracy narrative to destabilize nations. He advocating the bombing in Libya and Yemen, as we saw. He also pushed the false narrative of the moderate rebels, which I'm going to go into that a little bit deeper. He's these moderate rebels, of course, were affiliated with Al Qaeda and in Syria, and he participated in the coup of helping arm the neo-Nazis in Ukraine. And he was an anti-whistleblower and anti-Assange. He specifically mentions that, and he is pro-censorship and part of Silicon Valley. So they killed two birds with one stone on that. Mm-hmm. And he has very Zionist policies as well.
He did work for Facebook and Google, I believe, right? So, I mean, like you said, he kills two birds with one stone. And I also want to point out the fact that, I know in Obama's book that's been out there right now, he's talking about drone warfare. And the way they sold this thing, like, we're going to pull the troops out. The troops won't be there anymore. We're just going to use drones instead. But what that does, it kills civilians at a much, much higher rate when you have drones than as, God forbid, you have to have troops in there.
And they paint it as, we're helping these people, which is the worst part. It's very psychopathic.
The farmers, the plumbers.
Okay, so I'll do that. Okay, so he wanted to actually strike Syria as early as 2013. He welcomed the Syrian surrendering of its chemical weapons to international control. And that was what he wanted. He was Deputy National Security Advisor at that time, and he said, we would welcome a decision and action by Syria to give up its chemical weapons. The whole point of what we're doing is to stop Syria from using these weapons again. He said that the United States would take a hard look at the new Russian proposal for Syria to surrender its chemical weapons, but warned that any initiative would take time, resources, and probably a peaceful environment. So again, this is the way they frame it. Like, oh, we're just helping Syria. We're helping to get rid of these people, get the people away from Bashar al-Assad, from these brutal dictators that we have.
Well, let me get in there.
Yeah, I started taking pictures because of that, but let me just go down there. So in Syria, the militias armed by the Pentagon, if you guys recall, were fighting those armed by the CIA.
Yeah,
and
shit.
that was really stupid. And you can see the picture here. Unintended conflict: CIA armed Syrian rebels clash with the Pentagon backed militias along the Turkish border. So this is relevant because this was happening during the time when he was in charge. And the attacks by one U.S.-backed coup against another come amidst continuing the heavy fighting in Syria and illustrate the difficulty in facing U.S. efforts to coordinate among dozens of armed groups who are trying to overthrow the government of President Bashar al-Assad, fight the Islamic State militant groups, and battle one another all at the same time. Adam Schiff said it is an enormous challenge. The top Democrat on the House Intelligence Committee, who described the clashes between U.S. supporter groups as a fairly new phenomenon. Obama had authorized a Pentagon plan to train and arm Syrian rebel fighters. So this is like the history, because this is what really happened. We had literally trained and armed Syrian rebel fighters, and we called them the moderate rebels, but they weren't moderate. Relaunching a program that was suspended in the fall after a string of embarrassing setbacks, which included recruits being ambushed and handing over much of their U.S.-issued ammunition and trucks to an al-Qaeda affiliate. And amid the setbacks, the Pentagon deployed about 50 operation forces to Kurdish-held areas in the northeastern of Syria to better coordinate with its militias, and helped ensure U.S.-backed rebel groups weren't fighting one another. But that's not what happened. And that was part of what, like I said, people like Vanessa Beeley and Eva Bartlett were talking about when they were trying to talk about how the moderate rebels weren't moderate at all. They were affiliated with neo-Nazi groups even. Those weapons ended up in the hands of these neo-Nazis, but they were also affiliated with al-Qaeda groups. And he was a part of that. He was completely in favor of that. He helped push the narrative that Bashar al-Assad had chemical weapons and that these weapons were used against the people, even though they knew that it was completely false.
Neo-Nazis in Ukraine, the craziest jihadists in Syria. And the whole time, fam, he always used this kind of Russian scare again. Yeah. He was a Russiagator. He would always constantly bring up Putin, but a lot of his policy, it seemed, was really came from, what is Russia going to do? We have to do this to make sure that Russia doesn't have a foothold in Syria. So he was always Russia, Russia, Russia. And he was a big-time Russiagator, too, as well. So expect more of the same. And just like Fareed Zakaria.
So Donald Trump was right to strike Syria, and he said that he actually said that. Let's go look at it. He said President Donald Trump was right to strike at the regime of the Syrian President Bashar al-Assad. This is in 2017 for using a weapon of mass destruction, the nerve agent sarin, against its own people. Mr. Trump may not want to be the president of the world, but when a tyrant blatantly violates a basic norm of international conduct, in this case, the ban on using chemical or biological weapons in armed conflict, put in place after World War I, the world looks to America to act. Mr. Trump did, and for that he should be commended. So here it is. Here it is. This is him thanking Trump for acting, right? And then saying he needs to do more. He later goes on to talk about how he needs to do more to combat the Assad regime. Those weapons were fake. There was no chemical attack. That was all.
They already had two
fake.
debunked one, and this is the third one.
This was not even that long ago.
Yeah, they had two debunked ones. This is the third one that was also debunked as well. That's when the white helmets came into play, when they just showed up acting like things had happened. But that, once again, this is also what happens when you also control the mainstream media. They don't talk about these things. They don't investigate it. It was just like the type of rogue, once again, reporters out there just talking about what something's going on in Syria, and it even led to Dennis Kucinich and Tulsi Gabbard going out there to find out what's going on, because the State Department and guys like Blinken would put this kind of narrative out that it's all about they're gassing their own people, they're awful, we have to stop them, we have to arm these moderate rebels and these farmers to go fight them, and it was just a lie, because it was a geopolitical move, and it was also at the behest of Israel, because he's a Zionist, and therefore, you know what I'm saying? It's pretty bad.
And I can't tell you how many people came to me like bashing Tulsi Gabbard on that when she was saying no, like questioning the narrative.
So stupid.
And like I said, I mentioned Vanessa Beeley and Eva Bartlett because they extensively covered that. Vanessa Beeley on the ground in Syria and talked to people, and they used children. I mean, these people use children as a form of manufacturing consent for this. They used freaking dead children, and this guy was at the helm of that, pushing this narrative. It's disgusting. If they can use children to manufacture consent, what else do you think they're going to use? I mean, come on. It's absolutely disgusting. Yeah. And he also wanted Obama to change to charge Assange and Snowden to face charges. This is from CNN directly. He actually was in an interview, and he said they asked him, Tony, what did you make of course, the Attorney General will be careful in speaking publicly about any plan of bringing charges against Julian Assange in order to secure his arrest. But what do you make of this reporting that the Justice Department is preparing, has found a way, if you will, to try? They want to bring charges against Assange, which I want to know what's charged. Tony Blinken said, and right then, at this moment, he was a CNN global affairs analyst. So there he is again, security guy, foreign policy, warmonger, at CNN as a global affairs analyst. He said, well, they're walking a very, very fine line. It's very challenging. Look, there's no love lost for Julian Assange. And the person says, right, you would have loved to have done it as well. I mean, Blinken said, absolutely, referring to bringing charges on Julian Assange. But we want to make sure that first, we're not having a chilling effect in the media and on the press. And there's a real issue there. If he is simply publishing information that happened to come his way, albeit classified, that doesn't make him a whole heck of a lot different, perhaps, than the New York Times and the Pentagon Papers or CNN. But if, on the other hand, he is actually instructing people to try to steal classified information that he can publish, that might be different.
That's been that stupid argument.
Exactly.
That's a stupid argument.
And then he goes on, but what I would focus on is this was Assange. What we've seen in recent months, of course, are reports that he may have colluded, and WikiLeaks may have colluded with the Russians to infiltrate the election and put out information that they did, got to WikiLeaks, and we know what happened from that. That's where the focus, I think, should be. And of course, I'd focus on Mr. Snowden, who is not a publisher, who was sworn to protect secrets as an employee of the government, and who violated that trust. And he should certainly come back and face justice. That is the kind of guy that we are going to have directing our foreign freaking policy.
Yep.
That is the kind of guy that people were so happy. Oh, yay, we removed Donald Trump. That's the freaking guy. That guy is going to censor the hell out of us. That guy is going to go and put the boot of America everywhere else. And it's going to get much worse. And we're not even going to be able to talk about it because we're going to be censored. No. You see this guy,
and he's working for Facebook and Google to make sure he's got a good eye on what the hell we can say and what we can't say.
For them.
Kill two birds with one stone. Politico, fam.
But he's perfect for them, fam. And so this guy, in addition to being Silicon Valley, mainstream media, warmonger, he also had his foot in this consulting company that he created with these three other freaking warmongers. And it was called West Exec Advisors. And it's basically it was in the White House grounds between the West Wing and the Eisenhower Executive Office building. That's where they pretty much did their business. And the people that formed this were Michelle Flourney, and she was initially President-elect Joe Biden's contender for Secretary of State. She got so much backlash that he might not pick her. And one of the other people was Avril Haines. So you got Tony Blinken, you got Michelle Flournoy, who has such a horrible record that even Biden is reconsidering. And then you have Avril Haines, who is now the director of the foreign policy, and she is also is going to be the director of national intelligence. She's been involved in intelligence before, and we're going to go into her in a little bit. But those three formed this company, and the things they did in that company, it was basically a lot of consulting, a lot of just deep state kind of operations that you couldn't really get your hands on, and you can't really see what they worked for because they're not going to disclose it. They haven't disclosed it. Yeah. So it's absolutely scary that's happening. And I just wanted to point out this tweet that somebody posted underneath my tweet. And Secretary of State Tony Blinken's firm directly lobbied Google to create the AI system for U.S. killer drone. Avril Haines, for Director of National Intelligence, admitted to destroying the CIA torture tapes. But yeah, no issues. So there you go. So that's just a little summary. But looking closer to Avril Haines, of course, a woman. So I'm so excited, fam, that we're going to have a woman as a Director of National Intelligence yet again. She was also the Deputy National Security Advisor to Obama and is an ex-CIA Deputy Director, directly working as a spook. She, as a Deputy CIA Director during that time, she actually helped design Obama's program of using drones for extrajudicial killings, meaning that these killings were never going to come into into question. And she is currently on the board of directors for Center for a New American Security, or CNAS, which is, of course, funded by weapons manufacturers like Raytheon, Northrop Grumman, Lockheed Martin, Wall Street / the banks, JP Morgan Chase, Bank of America, the fuel industry corporations, Chevron, BP, and also that CNAS is funded by Palantir, who is in the U.S. National Security Council in the Office of Director of National Intelligence.
I think we should take a second and think about all those progressives out there who said that we were mitigating damage, that we can. Joe Biden was pushable. We can push him to the left. This is the guy we want to fight. Well, why aren't you fighting this right now? I saw Medea Benjamin do a video about one of these ladies. I don't know if it was Avril or what's her name. I believe her name is. You put it over here. Yeah, but I think that she's so awful. And, and Medea Benjamin was doing a dance about like you got to get rid of this and stuff. But where are the progressives? Where are the people who said? Get rid of them. I mean, they didn't know about any of these people anyways. No. They never looked, and that's what I'm saying. That if you don't understand, the foreign policy and these
players and who they
it's just terrible. And that the fact that you just gave the keys back to a psycho and Joe Biden and his minions to go start driving down crazy lanes.
It's not even Joe Biden that's got the keys. It's the CIA, as you can see. It's the NSA, the freaking Silicon Valley, Wall Street.
Joe Biden just sitting shotgun with his glasses on, eating an ice cream cone. What up, corn pop?
That's what he's. So just a little bit more on Palantir. It's a CIA affiliated mining company. So The Intercept did an article earlier this year, actually, because we knew she was being considered. It's a data mining firm basically, and basically the story is that they took, if you guys recall, they took her biography off of the internet after she joined the campaign. So I just wanted to point that out. It's really bad. They removed the record that she had there, and she's also a Brennan loyalist, fam.
Well,
she's
there we go.
One of the worst.
Better than a Clapper loyalist, I guess, or is it the same thing?
Might be the same thing. So
Jesus.
I was actually giving her accolades in this article. It was a direct statement from him. He was the CIA director then, John Brennan, and when she was selected as Deputy National Security Advisor in 2014, he was saying the selection of Avril Haines to serve as the president's Deputy National Security Advisor is a fitting testament to her outstanding intellect, superb judgment, substantiative expertise, and a total dedication to our country's security. As much as I wish she could continue to serve as Deputy Director of CIA, a role in which she has excelled. I know that Avril is ideally suited to serve the president and our country in her new assignment. I very much look forward to continuing our partnership as we address a wide array of national security challenges America faces around the globe. And here it is, as the first woman to serve as deputy director.
There you go.
Avril set a powerful example for every woman at this agency and for women across the country. I speak for the entire CIA family in thanking Avril for applying her remarkable talents, creativity, and energy to our mission, and for helping lead the agency at this critically important time.
She's
in
a
history.
woman, fam.
I am so
Rejoice.
happy that we have this woman. I mean, it's just so wonderful that she's there. It's just, I am beside myself, fam.
Well, that's what's going to be said. You know how this progressive is going to be. It's like, oh, this is the first woman that's going to lead the CIA or the intelligence community. It's like, does that really matter if she's crazy? I mean, Gina Haspel, we called her Bloody Gina Haspel for a reason.
Gina.
These people are, once again, they're justifying their drone strikes and killing innocent civilians, and they're hiding that shit too as well.
And they're getting
the public
rewarded
can't get a
for
hold
it.
of it. Yes, they are. And now here they are. They're back again.
They're failing up.
Yeah.
They're getting rewarded for failing because none of this has worked.
Millions of dollars.
None of this has worked for the American people. It's worked for them. I mean,
Yeah.
they're sitting pretty, but everybody else, like, it hasn't worked
Well,
for.
they have the media that go on and lie and paint a pretty face. I mean, Brennan and Clapper still go on mainstream media and MSNBC like on the reg.
Yeah.
Yet, meanwhile, they got caught lying, and it doesn't make a difference. Clapper lied to Congress. Brennan's been lying to the people for how long? But they keep on propping up these people. And here you are again, MSNBC, CNN, NBC. Here they go.
So this is a Biden's national security advisor, okay, and his name is Jake Sullivan. He delivered some remarks, and basically, he's another spook. In other words, and we don't have to watch that because I don't want to hear this guy talk. But he was a senior policy advisor for Hillary Clinton's campaign in 2008 and 2016. So during the times when Hillary Clinton was running to become Madame President, he advised her directly in his campaign. But he was also the national security advisor to Joe Biden. That is a very important thing to note with this guy. And he was also part of the Alliance for Securing Democracy Advisory Council, which is basically a one of those think tanks that is, a pro-democracy, like an NGO type of council that wants to spread democracy and protect our national security, which translates to imperialism, censorship, etc. So
resource extraction coming to a country near you. Michael Chertoff, did you want to say anything about this dude or no?
No. I was just showing the page, but I wanted to say that this is just 3 people that I'm pointing out in Biden's cabinet. It takes time to actually point out the rest. I mean, we could be here for hours. They're all really bad, but these are the main. We got foreign policy, we got the intelligence, we got the security advisor. All these people are going to be involved in foreign policy and national security, which of course is going to affect us directly because we're going to be bombing, droning everybody. CNN isn't going to talk about it. They're going to go on CNN, in fact, and talk about how they're helping Syrians. They're going to go, as they bomb them and sanction them, they're going to go on MSNBC and talk about how, we're protecting democracy. We're spreading democracy in the Middle East. For sure, they're going to try to go into the global south. They're going to try to go into Venezuela. They're going to try to go into Bolivia. We had Ben Norton on, and he was saying, that's likely going to continue at maybe possibly at an accelerated rate under the Biden administration. And this is a part of it, guys. We need to know who these people are. You need to be talking about their records. You need to be talking about what they did, because otherwise nobody else is going to talk about it. CNN isn't going to talk about that. They're going to paint a pretty picture that doesn't exist. So,
well, I'm just thinking about the troops that were kind of set to come home right now from Afghanistan and Syria and trying to get the hell out of there in Iraq, those bases and whatnot. Like, obviously he made this power move to get these people out before Christmas. But can you imagine them just sitting there waiting and hearing the fact about who's coming into play? And they're like, oh, no, let's get out of here before we can. As soon as I get back to the States, I'm going MIA. You ain't going to find my ass. So
that's a good point, fam.
Ruth P., thank you for the Super Chat contribution. Always appreciate it on the couch. I'm thinking Bitcoin plus direct democracy, defunding and dethroning oligarchs' corpse while empowering the people. Yes, get your Bitcoin now. Or, wait a little bit when it dips, then buy in, right, Johnny?
There are other ones, too, that aren't Bitcoin that are actually good.
There are, but I would definitely put some Bitcoin away if you can stash it away. Gold is a bet on dystopian future. Bitcoin is a bet on humanity. Paul Tudor Jones versus the U.S. dollar is backed by guns, and that's by Paul Krugman. Thank you for the Super Chat contribution. We do appreciate it. Ruth P., you gave us 2 of them. Thank you so much. Thank you for watching. Guys, we have almost 300 people watching on the YouTube. Rokfin is up and working now. Get on over there. Help us out. ROKFIN. Sign up for free. It is a clean-looking stream. I'll tell you that much. Fam. Let's talk about the election, what's going on right now. The election protest contest. Is it still in the air?
So we just talked about Biden and the incoming administration, and now we're going to show you what the Trump administration is doing. Which
I didn't put in here. I should have put in here with the transition team, where a lot of people were saying, Trump pretty much just conceded the election, just said that's it, but that's not the truth. He told the person to go ahead and give some money to the transition team because she was getting bullied, supposedly, and he said, I don't want to hear that anymore, so go ahead and do it. But there was some news today. I'm still looking at my phone right now. I had this number 1 on the list because I'm waiting right now, and I'm still waiting. I'm waiting to see what's going on in Georgia. There was some stuff that was supposed to happen today. But let's rewind a little bit a couple days ago to what was going on in Georgia. I was getting calls about the recount over there, fam, with a lot of fugazi stuff, fake stuff going on. They were talking about it was just as dishonest as the original counting. Once again, shutting people out, kind of bullying people, whatnot. Here's Ben Swan. I know. Well, they didn't even really scrutinize the signatures once again, and they were supposed to have an independent audit. It didn't happen. And as soon as they certified the results, they announced, the governor, that is Mr. Kemp, announced there will be an audit. And that's because he's come under heat. Him and the Secretary of State about Dominion getting in there last second. Yep. We'll talk about all this stuff. Let's get a little rewind about what was going on in the recount. Here's Ben Swan, who's been doing some amazing work. He's been talking about this for years. And the thing I like, fam, what Ben keeps on saying, this is what we keep on saying here at this network, is that no matter what, whether it be Biden or Trump, we have to really take this serious because it's the future of elections, right? Yeah. If we don't get this right, because we understand elections, the framework, how bad it is, the mail-in system, how bad it can be without tracking, the actual suppression of trying to go and vote 5 to 7 hours in certain places. That's no joke. That's no lie. That happens. Ask the kids at UCLA. They got a lot of free pizza. Thank God for the pizza kind of website somebody created. And the actual tabulation machines, which Johnny knows about more than anybody. The proprietary software in these machines that are owned by corporations, you know what I'm saying? And there are suggestions on the table. Do we go back to hand counting? Do we have open source software somewhere else? Do we do tracking on our mail-ins? Do we make the system really mellifluous and fluent so you can get in, vote, and get the hell out? There are so many things we need to talk about when it comes to our elections, and it is the most important thing, because if we don't have this straight, and it's not just the president, Trump versus Biden. These are the down ballot candidates, fan. We've been talking about for years, the Maria Estradas, the Angelica Duenas, the Shahid Battars. How will we ever get a chance if we don't have fair elections, if they're owned by the corporations and they're tied into the establishment? So let's go back to what was going on in the recount, because there was a lot of shit going on. Sorry, Mom, for cursing. There's a lot of stuff going on in Georgia. Take a look what Ben Swan has to say. And look at his hair. It's beautiful.
Trying to stop the certification of the results until a proper recount is conducted. Quote, the Trump campaign attorney Lin Wood filed the affidavits with a federal court in Georgia on November 17th as part of an emergency motion seeking to block the certification of election results in the Peach State. 9 of the affiants swore to have seen suspiciously pristine, uncreased mail ballots uniformly and perfectly filled out, almost always for Biden. In one case, a batch of such ballots included 500 ballots in a row, all cast for Biden, the Democratic presidential nominee. The lack of creases is strange considering that mail ballots have to be folded to envelope. Some of the witnesses said perfect markings, all in black and never outside the voting bubble, appeared as though they were printed by a machine or stamped. The emergency motion detailed these and other abnormalities, violations, and potential signs of voter fraud on the night prior to the deadline for Georgia's recount, which has already discovered in 3 counties batches of uncounted votes for Trump. Quote, everything was in total disarray, Susan Voiles, a poll manager with 20 years of experience handling ballots, wrote in her affidavit about her experience at a recount center in Fulton County. So named in the lawsuit is this woman, Susan Voiles, who was part of this process of the recount in the state of Georgia. And what she says is that starting on November 14th, she was at the World Congress Center where a lot of this recount was taking place. And what she witnessed were enormous problems in the way the votes were being recounted. But she specifically talks about these pristine ballots that were spotted. And these, again, are ballots that were supposed to be mail-in ballots, but instead had no creases in them, were not folded in any way, and appeared to have been printed rather than filled out by voters.
Even though they certified the Secretary of State and then the governor, they came back and said they're going to have an audit. And there's a lot of stuff coming out right now about the relationship with the legislation in Georgia and Dominion voting. They made a switch. But here's what Sidney Powell said really quickly. She just said that a massive lawsuit is coming that might change the whole, save the Trump presidency. I'm still waiting. I'm looking at my phone, seeing if anything's going on. We haven't heard anything yet from Georgia, but just we're going to keep an eye on what's going over there. Even Lin Wood, I have worked closely with Sidney Powell and others over the recent weeks. The lawsuits Sidney will be filing tomorrow in Georgia speaks the truth. Enemies of America will deny the allegations. Do not believe them. Believe Sydney and me. We love America and freedom. Our enemies do not. So that is one of the lawyers for the Trump campaign as well. We're standing by waiting on this stuff. Even Jordan Sekelo said the other day too as well. It has new election fraud litigation in Georgia. It's nothing that they talked about before. It's not related to what we heard in the press conferences either. It's something completely separate, said the lawyer for Donald Trump. So we're just waiting to see what happens. That was today. If it's not released today, it might happen on Friday because obviously tomorrow's Thanksgiving. So stand by the phones. That's what's going on with Georgia. There's even some information that the Secretary of State in Georgia used Dominion executive to testify on a switch last minute. And you can go to Andrew Boston and over there, whatnot. The Secretary of State they had some glitches, again, issues. So they made a switch out, millions of dollars. That's the story in Georgia. We just have to stand by and wait and see, fam. There's a lot of stuff going on. But there is some good news. Did you want to say anything else about Georgia before we get on?
No, go ahead.
All right. There is 3 states. So states themselves will have hearings, okay? Pennsylvania, Michigan, and I believe Arizona will hold hearings on election fraud. There are dates listed down below. So this is good because we're going to get some information for what's going on. Today, obviously, was the one for Pennsylvania. So that went on. A lot of people, they said there was gas. The president spoke. Giuliani spoke. So it's glad that they had a hearing going on as well. And also, I believe they had something. Did I miss it? Okay, we'll go back to it. But I believe they decided not to recertify. They stopped the certification in Pennsylvania. We'll go over that. So there's a lot of stuff going on. Wisconsin, we talked about this, fam, going out to Wisconsin, possibly. Check this out. This is something cute here. Maybe you might like this, fam. Let me put the ad blocker up. In Wisconsin, fam. It's not letting me do it. In Wisconsin, on day 5 of the election recounts in Wisconsin, all the observers were given poop emoji wristbands from Wisconsin center staff. So they're literally wearing little poop emoji bands over there. One of the executives over there, or one of the people running the account said, "Oh, I didn't know it was poop. I thought it was always chocolate ice cream swirls, softy serve." But they're just having a little fun out there. And they had some uncounted ballots also showed up. I got this from the local news as well. So that's what's going on in Wisconsin. They were hoping to finish by tonight. It looks like they'll be finished after maybe Friday or Saturday, but nearly 400 uncounted ballots were found in Wisconsin. So far, the way things have been going in Wisconsin is that Trump has gained a little ground, but not enough right now to make up a big difference. But there's still a lot to go, and it's going to be very interesting what happens in Wisconsin. There's been a lot of complaints of the stuff that's going on over there, the way they do these recounts. This is unprecedented because we never had an election like this before where we've had this many absentee ballots. So now it's just so overloaded. So even the recounts or the audits, there's not a lot of clarity going on with them as well. Anything to say about that real quick, or should we get on to the next one?
Go ahead.
All right, the appeals court. This was a little victory for Trump today. The appeals court grants expedited review of Trump in the campaign lawsuit. That was a couple days ago. We talked about that. And then the certification here today is halted. So the judge halts further vote certification, Governor Wolf to appeal. But that is what's going on. It was a mini victory for them today in Pennsylvania. So that's, once again, the thing that's great about this is, fam, is that people will get on the record. They'll be able to be heard, right? We want to fix these elections moving forward, don't we? So all these people coming to the table, being able to tell their story of what's going on, will hopefully let us make some plans for the future where this doesn't happen again. However, the main avenue which the Trump campaign is going with is the fact that all these mail-in ballots need to be scrutinized properly, and they weren't scrutinized. And they have affidavits from people that were shut out. They also have some situations where they saw ballots coming in that they thought were just not right. You saw what they said with the whole printed on them in Pennsylvania, like a computer print, and they're straight, they're not folded, they were never in the envelope. So the good thing about these hearings, hopefully, is that we'll get some answers from what people experience moving forward, because we do have to fix these elections. If we don't fix these, we'll never have an honest election moving forward. And then in Nevada, another little victory as well. I put up here, huge court win lets Trump present ballot evidence, could overturn Nevada results. I hear there's a lot of crazy stuff that was today, fam. There's a lot of stuff going on in Nevada. Guys, check it out yourself if you want to go check out this article. There's a lot of stuff going on. And this is set for December 3rd, and it's allowing for 15 depositions. So there's going to be a lot of information come to the table. I mean, there was something like ballots outnumbered Trump ballots. Biden ballots outnumbered Trump ballots by 91,000 in unofficial results. And they've had all this screwery coming around talking about all these allegations of ballots just not being properly scrutinized, being stuffed again, and the way they did these things. So those are the 4 states that I kind of just looked at today to talk about them. Wisconsin, as they finish up their audit. Pennsylvania, we saw some stuff today. Johnny, you want to play that Pennsylvania? And Georgia, we're waiting. Listen, we might have some information by the end of the day. Keep your eyes peeled for what happens in Georgia. Linwood and Sidney Powell are down there. So they've been talking. They're going to file stuff that we don't even know about. So I've been waiting for this information. I've been on pins and needles saying, what are you presenting for evidence?
So Georgia is independent of everything else because, if Sidney Powell is in it, that's her lawsuit.
Yeah,
right?
well, Sidney Powell has one. Jordan Sekelo said they had one from the Trump campaign, so there's going to be several lawsuits going over there. Lynn Wood is working that case. Same thing in Pennsylvania. Sidney Powell says she has another case. Well, not. Now, she's taking the avenue of what's going on with Dominion and the machines, okay? She's looking at executives that took bribes or kickbacks or just took money to let them come in and when and why. That's why that information came out in Georgia. What we're talking about, the Secretary of State made a last-minute switch. Election integrity activists were screaming that they couldn't do that these machines were not certified. And also, too, I didn't put it on here. If you want to hear about Smartmatic, there's a girl named Michelle Malkin. She went to the Philippines, and there is some great stuff over there, what happened in the Philippines. It's almost the same thing, fam.
She went there, or she
interviewed somebody. I think she is Filipino, by the way.
Yeah.
She interviewed somebody, an executive, what was he? He was an ex-congressperson because he lost his election, and they just exposed Smartmatic from left to right. Almost the identical things. Sidney Powell made a claim that in Arizona that 35,000 votes were casted for Democrats before the machine was even started counting, before the official election began. They had the same type of things going on in the Philippines, same problems, and they had some of the Smartmatic executives. They brought them to Congress, and they just grilled and laced into them. So Michelle Malkin, one of our followers, sent us that yesterday. You can go check out her Twitter. All this stuff's up there. It's pretty interesting. But let's talk about what happened in Pennsylvania today. Johnny has a clip. Listen to Rudy Giuliani go over here.
There's a lot of citizens out there that have important information that needs to be shared in the courtroom to ensure that these fraudulent activities. And it's not, I mean, a lot of times when people talk about fraud, they're thinking of impersonation, but that's not what we're talking about. We're talking about fraudulent activities as far as a fraudulent election because they've not abided by the laws that have been passed by we the people through our elected legislature as the U.S. Constitution, as our state constitution, as our laws provide for to facilitate our elections. So Mayor Giuliani, as we move forward, and I stand with Senator Mastriano and others that are there today. I actually sent an email out while I was listening to some of the testimony today given at the hearing to the whole Republican caucus in the Pennsylvania House to encourage them to sign on and listen to what was happening today with this information that I think they all need to hear and that every Pennsylvanian, every American needs to hear to help encourage our citizens, Mayor Giuliani, as you move forward in the court battle. I know the press has been continually day after day saying no evidence, no evidence, no evidence. Well, I think we heard a lot today. Do you expect that you're going to have an opportunity in the right level of courts in our state, in our nation, to have this evidence presented by some of these people here today and others that you have signing affidavits?
Yes, I am. I'm certain that there will be a court decision that will allow us to present our evidence. The case in Pennsylvania was dismissed on a motion to dismiss, in which the judge made factual findings against us, basically saying he thought our claims were absurd. Of course, he has no right to do that on a motion to dismiss. On a motion to dismiss, he has to assume that everything we're saying is true, and I think it was just done to delay us.
Johnny, you need to give some talk about that real quick because Johnny has he knows the delay game.
Yeah.
Did y'all hear that? What Rudy said there? He said that the judge dismissed the case, and the judge wasn't supposed to do that because the opposition filed a demur. It seemed like a dismissal, right? So when the opposition files a demur, a dismissal, the judge is supposed to assume that everything that the Trump team or Giuliani in this case presented is true.
Yeah.
And instead, this judge dismissed everything on is basically did the judgment on merit.
Yeah.
Instead of on
Evidence.
on evidence. So
On procedure.
on procedure.
Yeah, it's supposed to stay on procedure. Yeah.
Yeah. So, anyways, this is exactly what they did to Raji Rab.
Yeah.
This is exactly what they did to Raji, and except the judge gave him a chance to, or actually, it's probably a delay tactic to rewrite his lawsuit, which is called the writ of mandate, and so then he rewrote his second writ of mandate, and now he's just waiting until January 2021, which is the next hearing for the dismissal, demur, on his case.
Yeah.
Because that's where the opposition, Logan and Secretary of State Alex Padilla, put the date there. And when Raji complained about that and sent ex parte order, a speedy trial order, the judge denied it. And that's the most recent thing that happened. So literally what this happened to Raji before this happened to Trump and Giuliani.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
this is crazy.
Yeah. I mean, they're supposed to say, like, well, even though that they did this and did that, that doesn't make the case valid. He was saying, no, what you're saying is absurd, and they're not allowed to do that.
Yeah.
They're supposed to present it as if all that evidence is true and say, even if it is true, we can't proceed with the case because of so-and-so. But what they're doing in certain situations is like, oh, that's absurd to even think that.
Yeah.
No,
Then you're not being a judge. You're being partial
Yeah.
to a certain narrative without actually looking at the evidence and without letting the procedure go. And this is important to point out for the people that say, oh, well, you're just helping Donald Trump. And it's like, this is like election integrity. You either are for election integrity all the time or you're not for election integrity. You can't pick and choose that you're going to be for election integrity when it's Bernie Sanders or when it's a progressive and then not give a damn because you don't like Trump. Like, you don't have to like Trump. This is nothing to do about Trump. This is like, we need fair and free elections, period, or we're not going to be able to have a democracy. We don't have one right now. And so it's going to affect us later on far worse, especially with the people that are Biden's putting in there. Like, those people are never going to allow a fair election to happen ever again.
Yeah. A lot of stuff's going to be swept under the rug and whatnot. And Giuliani has said before they're going to have some cases denied. They did, but all they need to do is keep kicking them up to other courts. Once they get a couple good cases and they start to get heard, it's going to have a domino effect, is what he feels. So now we have a situation here in Pennsylvania. They had their hearing today. They denied the certification, so that's a big win for Giuliani. Now they get to do this hearing in the court of law. It's expedited, unlike Raji Rab, where they kicked it back to January, right, Johnny? And then he has Nevada. So people are going to go on the record inside the courtrooms to speak of what's what, and we'll see what else happens. Like I said, Michigan, Wisconsin, and Georgia got a lot of stuff going on over there where they're not out of the woods. Even Arizona's got a lot of stuff. They're not out of the woods. Nevada, Pennsylvania, first couple states to start falling. We'll see if the domino effect
it's crazy,
happens.
though, because like you look at all the media, not just mainstream media, but mainstream media coupled with lefty media coupled with some independent media, they're not talking about this at all.
Yeah.
It's crazy. We're like one of the only channels on the left talking about this, and it really sucks because it's like, it's like we're alone in this. Nobody else dares even talk about this as if it's a real thing that it's happening, and it is a real thing that is happening, whether you agree with it or not. It's happening, and any challenger, any congressperson, any candidate has the ability and has the right to challenge results, and this is not a coup. This is something that's completely normal within bounds of anything Donald Trump will do. Like, this is like this fear mongering and this sort of putting everything under the rug and, oh, yay, let's just go on. No, this is happening. Sure, I'll talk about Biden's transition team because I think it's important we know who the hell these people are, these spooks and these NSA and these, lobbyist types are. But I also am going to talk about the election integrity that's also happening right now, the issues, because those issues are going to stay and remain there whether Trump or Biden become president.
Exactly. And that's an important thing to talk about. And I think the reason why people don't talk about it, fam, is they don't understand the framework and the structure of these elections. And once you get into into that, you're like, what the hell are we doing? This is like ridiculous. We can't even have an honest election, and we care more about the down ballot candidates, the ones who affect us locally that we want to get into play. But if they can cheat Donald Trump and Joe Biden, if Joe Biden can cheat Donald Trump and they can cheat Bernie Sanders, they can easily cheat everybody down below, and that's something we have to. And here's something, fam. You might just kind of gloss off the whole scrutinizing of people from the ballots and all these people with the affidavits who said they were shut out or pushed away as if it's nothing. No, those are the laws. They have to scrutinize these ballots, especially in areas like Wisconsin, Pennsylvania, Michigan, whatnot. They don't get to go through the machine like we do in California, which is another joke, which California's got to get a hold of their elections as well. And hopefully we'll hear some good news from Republicans and Democrats protesting these elections out here because they are a joke. You saw Johnny following the guy. The guy had ballots by himself. I mean, we don't know for sure, but they sure look like ballots. And why the hell were they going into that goddamn spot in
Pomona.
Not in Pomona, in Downey? I mean, on a Sunday by himself, that's just illegal right there. Carrie Mark, thank you for the super chat contribution. Biden is bringing back HRC to terrorize us.
She never left.
Oh my! How can we miss you if you don't go away, Hillary? Please, Boris C. Boris. Let's have a beer, Boris. Keep it up. Manitalk, what's up? Hashtag resist the reset. The great reset, right?
It's something.
Jesus Christ. Johnny was watching. What's his name? What's the guy's name again? The head guy. I forgot his name. Klaus. Manitalk. Isn't it odd that the ballot inspectors weren't able to inspect incoming ballots due to COVID social distancing? Yeah, that was kind of interesting too as well. Only certain people were allowed to inspect those ballots, and that's something that they got to go back on. Listen, technically, in a lot of those states, if you do not scrutinize those ballots, they are invalid, and they should be taken away. That is Giuliani's line of attack, and that's what they're going to try to do, and we'll see if it plays out.
You know what's funny, Pastor, about that, too? For the 1% mayo tally here, they do the 1% mayo tally on the ballot marking device ballots, which is the ballots that you go in
and actually
into
cast.
The voting center, which is what you and I did. We touched the ballot and you put it there. So they had that box of ballots there, right? So those ballots all got touched, right? They all got touched. For the vote by mail ballots, they're doing them on display screens. They're doing them on. They don't have the actual ballot boxes there.
What are they doing? The ones that Breaky talks about, the actual pictures from the machines?
Yeah, it's just like a display monitor, and it's sideways, and it just has the ballot on there, and then that's how they're doing it instead of the ballot box.
It's so stupid.
So we literally have no idea. And I asked, why are you guys doing that? Oh, it's for COVID reasons. But you're doing the BMD ballots, which people have touched also.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And then also, didn't the CDC say that COVID doesn't stick on surfaces?
Yeah.
They go back and forth.
They flip-flopped on that.
That's the thing. Like, everything is so politicized, you don't know what is true and what isn't.
Yeah, and we also talked about this too, guys. We saw the behavior of the Democratic Party when it came to the HEROES Act. They were trying to move away these provisions so they can get any ballot through. Yeah. But once again, the reason why they're keeping away the actual physical mail-in ballot away from the auditors, John, is because they don't want them looking at and scrutinizing these mail-in ballots, because half these mail-in ballots, who knows where they came in from and what they do. All those ballots that were sent out, I talked to Ruben Major about the roll list. It was ridiculous. There's so many people on these rolls, especially in California. People come here and they leave all the time. So all these ballots that got mailed out, they get sent back. Now you got a million of them probably. You can just take that and just spread those out for wherever you want and stuff the ballot box. It's just a disgusting situation. We have to get it under control. We have to. And listen, there's a discussion within the election integrity activists, but all the solutions are there, fam. We can fix this thing like that. You know what I'm saying? Like when I talked to Dr. Shiva, he says he wants to go back to civics and hand counting. Well, what I think we should do is we should have open source in certain areas, like in UCLA, have an open source system where the students are part of that open source system working on it, you know what I'm saying? Or maybe in Dodger Stadium. But all your smaller precincts or your smaller vote centers, go back to your hand counting. Yeah. Have a mix of both. Let's just get this thing. We have solutions out there. Let's get in the room. Let's work them out.
They don't want to solve it. That's the thing. They lose.
I forgot which guest we interviewed where it wasn't just open source, but less than like a certain amount of lines of code. Because they can make open source with like a million lines of code, and then you don't know there's something in there.
Yeah.
So it's got to be less than like 200 lines of code or 100 lines of code or something like that.
Can you imagine
which
UCLA
which is
students,
possible.
though?
Which is possible.
That would be awesome, Johnny. Have UCLA students work on it. This is the open. You know what I'm saying? Have them be part of the process.
Yeah.
What is it? Civics we have to get back to in school,
yeah.
right? I mean, do we not have to? Jesus Christ almighty. Excuse my French, Mom. Sorry.
So fam, we were talking about this yesterday
Oh.
because I know I'm not a huge fan.
My favorite station got shut down, fam.
Shut the- People will believe you when
No,
you say that.
God.
But it's just I was
it's
like,
wrong.
dude,
You
I'm not a
can't do
fan.
this.
I'm not a fan of them at all in any way, shape, or form. You guys, like, I'm not a fan of Jack. I'm not how he covered the protests and stuff like that. But YouTube temporarily, they had a 1 week strike. It's a 1 week shutdown, and it's
We know
just
what that's
funny.
like.
We know what that's like, and it's
What's
like,
that like?
here's the thing: they're shutting them down. They're gonna come back and shut us down again, and all this does is hurt the voices of dissent. You don't have to like OAN or even believe what they're saying or whatever, but they have the right to say it. Now, in come the neoliberals and the neo-progressives. Oh, but they're spreading misinformation and blah blah blah. Allow us to combat that misinformation if that is the case. You are not the arbiter of truth here. You're not the one who decides what I cannot or cannot look at or what I cannot or cannot read. That is absolutely unacceptable. Why is Silicon Valley dictating what is true and what isn't? And further, why aren't you questioning the fact that Silicon Valley is literally donating millions of dollars to the Biden administration, is putting their own goons into the Biden administration?
16 mil.
Isn't that a conflict of interest? Shouldn't you be more angry at that than what OANN is saying? Was it One American News Network? That's what it is. Shouldn't you care more about that? Like the connections and stuff?
Let me tell you something. I don't like the ideology over there as well, too. But, when I was on a plane flying from Florida back to California and we had the limited DirecTV, I couldn't get RT News. I had MSNBC, CNN, Fox News, OAN was one of them and whatnot. And I was kind of switching through the channels. Once again, I don't believe in their ideology, but they were just doing some solid work, presenting the facts, and then kind of going on what they thought their opinion was of those facts. And like we said, what Fam said is the most important thing. We fight for freedom of speech with more freedom of speech. We put more speech out there. If you don't agree, let's have a public discourse about this whole situation, and let's talk about why they're wrong and what's not. But when you just silence people, and that's all big tech's been doing right now. Silicon Valley's been silencing people. It's disgusting, and it really needs to stop. And if Joe Biden gets in, like Whitney Webb said, it's going to be like censorship on steroids.
And I just gotta say, it's really sad to see, because I know the left is like, yay! I'm so excited they removed OANN. Like,
First Alex Jones.
It's so great. Like, we got rid of these Nazi white supremacists. Blah blah blah. It's like, but like, do you not see how that is fascistic in itself? You cheering for censorship? You cheering for that? That is Big Brother. That is 1984. If you recall, go read that fucking book again and go watch that movie. It's a very boring movie. The book is much better. But go watch it and understand that we're not heading there. We're already there, and the left is champion. It's cheering for censorship because they don't like how these people think. Well, how the fuck are you going to win anything with ignoring the other side of people, half of America? You're ignoring them. You're putting them on this island. We're never going to win anything. We're never going to get progress because you aren't willing to have a discourse of ideas and show that your ideas are superior. And that's what really fucking sucks to me. I just get so irritated with that.
And the people like David Atkins, how do we rewire these people? How do we reprogram these people?
How do we
what do you mean
reprogram you?
these people? Let's how about we just talk to them and stuff? I mean, really, this
and some people can't be changed.
Mightier than thou, kind of like better than thou, standing on top of my this elitism.
It's elitism.
Standing on top of my shoebox over here, or whatever, above everybody else, whatnot. Let's talk about your other favorite fam. We know how you love Netanyahu.
Bibi. So Bibi.
Oh, Bibi.
Bibi Netanyahu is nominated for the Nobel Peace Prize. Now,
is that the Onion? Wait, is that the Onion?
No, that's The Hill.
No. No. Wait, say that again. I got to hear that one more. Hold on. Go ahead.
Netanyahu, UAE leader, nominated for Nobel Peace Prize.
No.
Yes.
No.
Why are you surprised? They gave Barack Obama, the warmonger, Mr. Cracker-in-Chief, drone-in-chief, deporter-in-chief, Nobel Peace Prize. Why wouldn't they give this other warmonger, imperialist, a Nobel Peace Prize? Like, that's what, hello, kids, this is what I'm saying. the requirement to get one of these is now you have to be a warmonger, you have to be an establishment hack. That's the requirement. If you want the Nobel Peace Prize, please go and be a warmonger.
We're living in a joke today.
Congratulations.
Why don't people
It's a
just wake up to this
cartoon,
shit?
like-
Why don't you
like
wake up
Lori
to this? What's
says and
going on? I
Steve
mean, this
says.
is ridiculous right now. I mean, even if you like Netanyahu, I'm sure people who like Netanyahu is like, hey, you heard he was nominated for a Peace Prize? What? No. Come on, man. So
Come on, man.
come on, fam.
Come on. Oh,
I just clicked on that
oh
one.
yeah, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mohammed Ben Said.
That's what I was like, I wanted to read that.
Well,
yeah.
he just went out to whatchamacallit too as well. Netanyahu got on a plane and flew out to Saudi Arabia
Yeah.
to talk to MBS to talk about what's going
about
on.
The
you know.
fighter jets.
Yes, the fighter jets, and also too because some Houthis attacked one of an oil refinery and hit about 10% of it. So the Houthis are like, you know what, we might be dying, might be famish over here. One of the world's worst ever humanitarian situation, but we're gonna still continue to fight. And they sent a drone in and hit an oil refinery, knocked about 10% of their production out of that oil refinery. So there's a lot of stuff going on, and you know, if in fact Biden comes in there, but don't worry, Biden did appoint a Zionist to help out Bibi.
So Israel and Saudi Arabia get Nobel Peace Prizes. Like, I mean, these countries. What about Palestinians? Do they get anything? Oh, they just get more sanctions,
throwing
and
rocks,
and yeah. So, speaking of fascism,
yeah. While we're on the subject of fascism, Gavin Newsom with his hair.
Gavin Newsom and his hair and his freaking attitude decided that he was going to shut down restaurants, like I mentioned the other day.
This is disgusting.
Now,
right
outdoor
here.
dining, right? And I'm telling you, outdoor dining, you're wearing your mask still. The waiters are wearing the mask. They're wearing the other thing on top of it. And then you sit down, you're 6 feet apart. They have to take your temperature. They're giving you, what is it, disposable silverware because they're not even using all these things
Thrown
that are
away.
happening.
Yeah, you don't even reuse.
You don't reuse the menu, your no-touch menu, and all
It's
that.
on your phone.
All that crap.
Yeah.
Yeah, even that wasn't enough, according to Gavin Newsom and the Board of Supervisors, who was divided. But after much debate, a closed-door session with the council voted Catherine Barger's motion. She was a motion to stop the shutdown, right? So they voted to rescind the ban. The vote was 3-2. Hilda Solis, who is a horrible establishment city councilwoman, Sheila Kuhl, and Mark Ridley Thomas, who is iffy, you know, some progressives like him, some don't, voted against the motion. And Barger and Janice Hahn supported it. So this is, again, it was an 11-3 vote, passed a resolution drafted by Monica Rodriguez asking the county's public health department and supervisors to rescind the order. So, again, everything shut down. But now this is LA County, right?
Yeah.
This is just LA County. But I wanted to point out some numbers because it's important to look at some of these numbers. And
So is everything staying closed or is it open up now? Are they going to be able to? Does a motion mean it was voted against? The motion was to reopen outdoor dining?
no, the motion was voted down.
So
that
therefore,
means
we're still shut down.
You're still shut down in
Outdoor
LA County.
dining is still not allowed.
Correct. So
Outdoor.
yes,
No
outdoor.
singing.
There was never any indoor because we never got there. So there's nothing. So
Nothing.
like now you can only do takeout.
That's it.
Right, and that's gonna put people out of a job. The bussers, the runners,
Wait.
the servers, the bartenders.
Alcohol, though. We can deliver alcohol.
You can get alcohol. It's going to be more expensive. Who do you go to deliver these things? Corporations, right? Uber, Grubhub, Amazon.
And they're expensive. They're not cheap.
They're not cheap. It's corporations. They're putting down small businesses to prop up these corporations. That's what's happening, you guys. They're trying to get rid of all these poor people. That's what's really going down. So Peter Pham, the LA restaurants were 3% of non-residential setting spread. So shut them down. The food industry lost over 100,000 jobs. It was 400,000 employed. Now it's 300,000. LA County has 613,000 on unemployment, up from 221,000 of last year. Here comes another 100,000 with restaurants closed.
Yeah.
And he put up his the little numbers that he has, especially at the bottom, and then the next one shows specifically the food services and drinking places from before and after. And you guys can see the difference in numbers and how many less people are employed now. And he also has the unemployment data if you check at the labor marketing the website he put up. And
One down
and
there.
he and you
Right
can
there.
see, and you guys can see that the seasonally adjusted unemployment rate in Los Angeles County decreased over the month to 12.3% in October from a revised 15.5% in September, and was above the rate of 4.3% 1 year ago. Civilian employment increased by 277,000 to 4,454,000 in October of 2020, while unemployment decreased by 144,000 to 622,000. The civilian labor force increased by 133,000 over a 3-month period of 5,076,000 in October 2020. So again, so you can see that the unemployment went up a little bit, but it's going to go back down.
Yeah.
I mean, it went down. It's going to go back up as these people become unemployed.
Can I say something real
Yeah,
quick?
sure.
This is the shit though. Like, why? It kind of is upsetting when you see Donald Trump come out there and talk about. He had a little small, quick announcement just to come out and say, "Hey, do you guys know that the stock market's above 30,000 for the first time ever?" It's like, yeah, because corporations are making hand over fist. That's the annoying part of Donald
Yeah.
Trump when he does that shit. He didn't say, but we still have a lot of people who are unemployed, and we have a lot of homeless number of people growing, and we have to still work on that. And that's something that I would like to see my president say. And I want him to mean it, though. You know what I'm saying? Not just say it, because we know that the Biden administration will talk about shit, but then turn around and stab people in the back, especially when it comes to labor. I mean, the Democratic Party hasn't had any type of legislation for pro-labor since Jimmy Carter left the goddamn, White House. So it's just disgusting. But this is the reasons that shit pisses me off, because the corporations now are going to make way more money. You had that graph I think you put up on the Convo Couch. Was it the Instagram when it showed the richest people? And you can see how these corporation CEOs are just going to the top right now. And this is going to even be more of a gift for them, for Amazon, for Uber Eats, and all these other companies that you have to pay $6, $7, $8, $10 extra just to get your food delivered now. Where's all that money going to? It's going and filtering to certain individuals' pockets, fam. And that's the big shame right here.
Yeah, and according to this graph too, with Peter Pham, he basically said that we are under the 2019 hospital average, yet we are keeping schools closed and a 10 p.m. curfew and no more restaurant dining. So it's important to look at these numbers, and we haven't really gone deeply into that. But just looking at the basic numbers, the variety of people, for instance, that were infected with COVID, the variety of infections from COVID, a small percentage came from restaurants. So it's not where restaurants where people are getting sick. So to close them down and not provide for the workforce, because it's not about, it's not that I don't care about safety. It's about the fact that we're not giving these people more money, these businesses more money. You can't shut these businesses down if you're not giving them the help.
Yeah.
And Gavin Newsom is still out there, do what I say, not as I do. He's going around, not just him, but every other major
Other
politician.
lawmakers, they're doing the same thing, jumping on planes.
Yeah,
It's terrible.
exactly. And they're jumping on planes. They're doing whatever it is. They're eating out. They're doing whatever you can't. They're telling you not to do those things.
What's Oregon?
But they're allowed to do it.
You told me that? Was that
I think
Oregon?
that was
Would you tell me that, Johnny? Something was like 30 days, I think, in jail if you get caught more 6 people at Thanksgiving. They're encouraging their neighbors to tell on each other. All this shit's going on. In New York, I heard that de Blasio is setting up checkpoints to make sure people aren't traveling. But fam, we have some good news here, because this is a result of the Convo Couch here. We forced this here because, trust me, what's his name? Andy Dick, I forgot his name, one of the city council members. He used to come see me at my last job, so they know. They're like, dude, what's his name? Tornick had to go on the Convo Couch and face charges. They're like, these guys are restaurant guys. If we don't keep the restaurants over there, the Convo Couch is coming after us, fam. So
so just so you guys understand, when you're not from LA County is LA County. We are part of LA County, but Pasadena is its own municipality. They have their own city council, as Burbank has its own municipality as well. They have their own police force. We have our own police force. But Pasadena will allow restaurants to continue outdoor services, at least for now. City officials are still analyzing the data and could decide to put the kibosh on dine-in restaurant serving in the future. It's a sharp break from the decision made by Los Angeles County public health officials, who on Sunday issued a temporary order requiring restaurants to halt dine-in service for 3 weeks. The mandate, which many restaurant owners fear will devastate their businesses, because it will.
It will.
Well, goes into effect Wednesday, November 25th. During this period, restaurants in most of LA County will only be able to offer food via takeout, delivery, and drive-through. However, some cities in the county, such as Pasadena and Long Beach, have their own health departments, which regulate restaurants in those areas. So this is what they said. The city of Pasadena will allow restaurants to remain open for outside dining with guidelines in place and continue to assess its COVID numbers, work closely with Huntington Hospital, and give as much advance notice as possible if the city's order is to change in any respect. We need to balance our growing numbers and the economic hardship of restaurant personnel. Behind every employee is a family, and in many cases, they are the sole providers. We want to gain compliance through education, so we'll continue to work on the restaurants through. It's imperative everyone follows the rules to slow this surge. Otherwise, a state directive could supersede our local orders. So even though they're doing that now, like they said, they could literally, somebody could come and overstep them.
That was Gordo, too, who expressed support for keeping the outdoor dining open and said, I'm glad that we are untethering from the county and recognizing our own healthcare jurisdiction. Oh, look at that. Mr. Gordo gets to make a statement. Also, Gordo wants a place to go eat. Chubby son of a bitch that he is. God, man. I mean, we had a choice between a really boring guy and an extremely boring guy. Like, listen, I'd rather watch grass grow than listen to these guys talk. Fam, you're talking about my people over here. Go ahead.
Okay, so, since we get Bibi a Nobel Peace Prize nomination, we also had to give Andrew Cuomo or Fredo something. He's he praised New Yorkers, okay, and threatened Ben Stiller during his Emmy speech. He gave an Emmy speech via Zoom or via the internet, but basically was presented with an Emmy win for his coronavirus actions, which is absolutely absurd. The international Emmys gave him one, and the governor was the recipient of the annual Founders Award, which cited, quote, the effective use of television during a pandemic. So wait, you get an award for effectively using TV during a pandemic?
Oh, yeah.
Jeez. And I wanted to read what he said specifically because it's disgusting. He said, towards the bottom, I wish I could say that my daily COVID presentations are well choreographed, scripted, rehearsed, or reflected any of the talents you advance. They didn't. They offered only one thing, authentic truth and stability. But sometimes that's enough. He also praised New Yorkers who stood together and told the truth as the pandemic wraps to stay. Can you tell me where he was honest and truthful and authentic? Because I don't know, fam.
Fam, these people live inside their own bubbles, right? Yeah. I mean, they're just disgusting at this point. And why do we praise so much mediocrity? You know what I'm saying? It's like these people are just terrible.
They're failing up.
They are, and yet we sit there and we talk about how they're praised. These people, all these people that are coming into play. It's just. I don't know. I don't get it. I mean, we heard some of the progressives talk about why the Democrats are better than the Republicans. They keep on citing the fact that it's the abortion issue. Yeah. But we had a conservative Supreme Court. Nothing was overturned. I don't think it's going to be overturned. Yeah. And, it's a form of American exceptionalism sometimes, I think, when you can ignore the foreign policy aspects of everything we're talking about right now. If you can ignore that and you're a progressive, you call yourself a progressive, but yet you ignore these cabinet positions that you pointed out today, that's a form of American exceptionalism. And it's really, really sad because our foreign policy is our domestic policy. And until we get that through our heads, we're never going to find some good, harmonious politicians that will represent people across the board.
Right. So I just also still wanted to point out that Cuomo, just a reminder in case you guys forgot, right? Cuomo did literally cut Medicaid. Like during the time of coronavirus and right before, his whole plan was to cut Medicaid despite the horrific COVID-19 outbreak. And if you can just put that up, Johnny, there's that picture I wanted to put up. Earlier this year, Cuomo impaneled what is called a Medicaid redesign team to slash Medicaid spending in New York after a $6 billion budget shortfall, driven largely by rising Medicaid costs, became evident in late 2019. So again, he had the whole issue with the gutting Medicaid, and he also had the issue with the nursing homes where they were severely infected, and yet he was given an Emmy. So that I just wanted to point that out.
They also had a point too when they were giving him federal money, and Donald Trump said, "I'll give you the federal money, but you can't cut your Medicaid or your Medicare in your state." And he's like, "How dare you tell me what to do? I'll take that money, replace it, use it for something else if I want." So he was kind of standing up to the president, is what it was portrayed in the in the mainstream media, but it really wasn't. It was just He's had a slew of problems. He's not very well liked.
No.
He's considered one of the most fascist friggin' governors, along with Gavin Newsom out there. And both these guys take more money from billionaires than any governor across the country. And they really do. I mean, I think half the billionaires in the world give money to Cuomo because they need New York, and New York's important to them, and he's their lackey. So.
Absolutely, fam.
So what do we got here, fam?
We got Flynn.
Oh, whoa.
So
Johnny got a
breaking-
tweet up, though. I think this tweet was happening right when we started. Look what he says.
Yes.
It is my great honor to announce that General Michael T. Flynn has been granted a full pardon. Congratulations to General Flynn and his wonderful family. I know you will now have a truly fantastic Thanksgiving. I don't know if that was a
Basically.
good Donald Trump, but I tried to do the whole.
No, that was good. I
know.
mean, that is it. That's it. I mean,
This
that
happened
is-
right when the show started too,
Yeah.
fam. So I mean, we didn't even have this
Because-
tweet.
because initially we had Trump. Trump is said to. According to New
Yeah.
York Times, CNN, MSNBC, all the mainstream media said he said to pardon. And then of course the only media that reported that he was pardoned was the right wing media, Justin News, and they said that Trump pardoned Flynn. And then of course we were verifying with the tweet that Johnny put up. Yes, he did. He's pardoning him. There's no question about it. He's doing it. So now Assange, folks,
Yep.
go get him. Hello. It's unlikely he will do it, but it would
Snowden.
be great if he could do
Yeah.
a full pardon of Julian Assange, full pardon of Snowden. Specifically, it's a time crunch because Julian Assange, we're going to hear the verdict of the trial on January 4th, I believe, is when the verdict comes out from Belmarsh Prison and the Vanessa Barrister, the judge Vanessa Barrister. So we're all waiting. Donald Trump doesn't have too much time. You got about a little over a month. Freaking pardon Julian Assange.
That would be a crazy move. And let me
Yeah.
tell you this much. He's pardoned his cronies. You know, you got Stone, you got Flynn now, and I don't give a shit. People talking about back against these people. You know, what Stone did was go to trial, so therefore he can use the discovery to expose so many things. Peter Strzok, Lisa Page, all that shit was great. But Flynn was maneuvered into this kind of, this crime. You know what I'm saying? He was really, it was just unjust what they did to him. It took Sidney Powell coming along and saving him. And remember, Sidney Powell told the president, don't you dare pardon him yet. Don't pardon him. Don't pardon him. Let this play out. We have stuff we're going to show.
Right.
And they did. They turned the whole case on its side. The Judge Sullivan decided to delay the hearing or delay the sentence or delay the case until after the election. So that's why Donald Trump did have to step in at this point and say, okay, I'm not going to play around anymore. But they did wait its course on this, and it's just interesting. He has pardoned his two buddies, and I wanted Flynn to be part of the cabinet more than I wanted Bolton or any of these other dogs going in there and stuff. And, however, it was a shame what the Democrats did to him in the beginning, and they made his life hell. They threatened his son. So I'm glad that he has been pardoned. But like you said, fam, let's make the next move.
Yeah,
let's
pardon
go
the
all
guy
the way.
That's not your friend.
Let's
Pardon
go.
the guy that your administration is.
He talked shit on
persecuting.
Snowden,
Like,
right?
let's do it.
He
Pardon-
talked shit on Snowden a long time ago.
Yeah.
I believe that Putin will give him to me. Like, nah, he ain't giving you Snowden, pal. But let's go. Let's pardon him
Let's
now.
see.
Let's do it.
Go out with a bang, Trump.
And Ruth P. says, I watched Edward Snowden interview with Glenn Greenwald about current state of censorship this morning. A good watch after the convo, if anyone is interested. Thank you, Ruth P. We appreciate that
Thank
super
you.
contribution. It's always appreciated on the couch. And Sergeant Hootie, or Hoodle, is that an L or an I? I don't know. Voted D for 38 years. First time voting R. Why? Because they clearly cheated Bernie. And thank you, Convo, for protecting election integrity, unlike mainstream media. Jimmy Dore, Rogan, Greenwald. Come on, peeps, be real. Call out the steal. It's bullshit. You
You were a poet.
Listen.
No, he's right. I mean, it's a lot of people aren't talking about this because,
At
guys,
all.
it gets you so much
Crap.
Like we literally get like so much crap every day for even doing this. Like, I understand, like you gotta arm yourself with tough skin to be pursuing this, but we pursue the truth. Period. That's it. That's the bottom line. That's the side we're on, the side of truth. So.
All right, Johnny. Anything else?
Yeah, I got these. So let's see. This was yesterday. Yesterday morning, BLM Los Angeles led a demonstration at L.A. Mayor Eric Garcetti's residence for a wake-up call after hearing word that Garcetti is up for a position in Joe Biden's cabinet. So let's look at this. Let's watch this.
and the rest of the country know what's been going on here under the reign of terror of Eric Garcetti, right? Then the corporate media and whoever else will paint him as a champion for our people. Do we want that? Do we want that? Hell no!
We need to remember, look around at what's happening, that 4 of our people are dying every day from homelessness. We want to be very clear that as we happily usher out the Trump regime, we will not accept liberal white supremacy in the White House in the form of Joe Biden. We are not celebrating the author of the 1994 crime bill. It doesn't matter to me that Kamala Harris is your vice president if you're using her black woman body to usher in oppressive systems and oppressive people like Eric Garcetti. Ashe?
Garcetti's a failure! Don't make him a national failure! Garcetti's a failure! Don't make him a national failure!
You know,
Hold on, sir, you can't leave. They changed it. Hold on, let him pass. We're gonna let him pass.
This wasn't the People's City Council?
I think they edited the video. People's City Council.
Okay.
Yeah.
We need more people out there.
Yeah, that's what I was just gonna say.
Video by Eric Kelly.
It
Shout
really
out to
sucks.
That was a really good video.
Yeah.
It was a really good video. I like the music too.
Yeah. They were taking lessons from you, John. Yeah.
But yeah, but it's just like really irritating how few people are out there protesting Eric Garcetti. Eric Garcetti is horrible mayor, and they're propping him up like they're right. The mainstream media is propping him up like he is this beacon of progressivism. He can't even get shit together in his own city of LA. You think he can compete nationally? Like, it's disgusting. And we have homelessness. We still have the issue with police. We still have all this crap going on, and people want to pretend that's not happening because Joe Biden and Kamala Harris and, you know, what Melina Abdullah pointed out, it's like she doesn't care. Like, that's the thing. You cannot just continue propping up people like Kamala Harris just because they're black. If you're gonna use the same policies and the same mechanisms, the same fucking bullshit. And I'm glad people are waking up to that. I need to see a lot more people out there. Like, we need to see a lot more people out there. This is like, where are all the people that were protesting all the time? Like, where are they? Go out there and protest this guy. He's just as vile as any Republican. He hasn't done shit for the working people of LA. And look what Gavin Newsom's doing even.
Yeah. Guys, that's it for the show today. Johnny, anything else? Are you good? Because we have 1 minute left.
Just this meme. Anti-imperialist critiques of the U.S. empire.
He's got a microphone over there. Look at that.
One little mic.
He's got
a celebrity saying "Orange Man bad."
That's what it's like. That's what it's like.
That's what it's like. Yeah, that's what it's like.
Can we get rid of Diane or Nancy? I don't know if we can, Tom. Tom is over on the Rokfin. Guys, go over to the Rokfin, Rokfin. Sign up if you can. Endorse, like, subscribe, share, the whole 9 yards. We want to thank all those people who are Patreons out there. That really means a lot to us. We're going to be following a lot of this election stuff on the ground. It's still not over here. I'm pretty sure we'll probably make our way out to Nevada, and maybe we'll go somewhere else to see what's going on as this information starts to come in. Enjoy your Thanksgiving tomorrow, but pay attention to Friday. Some stuff might be hitting the fan, if you know what I mean, and we'll have to see what's going on Friday.
Thanksgiving.
When it comes to the election.
God damn it, it's colonizer like day. Come on, I'm gonna enjoy the blood of the rich. I'm gonna formulate how we're gonna eat the rich this Thanksgiving. That's what I'm gonna do.
We're having a vegan Thanksgiving, so there is
not when it comes to those.
I know that is something that I'm looking forward to, though, is having my first vegan Thanksgiving. We had a nice little dry run, and hopefully we can have a great day and be around people we love and whatnot. But we can't sing, because if we do, Gavin Newsom will arrest us. So for Pasta Jardula,
Fiorella,
Johnny Sue on the 1s and 2s.
Convo out. Bye, fams.
Thanks, guys. Thank you. We love you.